From sunrise to sunset, recycling is more than a job. It's a way of life. Early mornings, late nights, hard work that turns the old into something new. Recyclers power the economy, and ReMatter is built to power you. Making those long days easier with smarter tools like scale ticketing, payments, dispatch, and everything in between. We bring it all together so you can focus on what matters most, growing your business and serving your community. Driven by the spirit of recyclers everywhere. ReMatter. Built for recycling. Built for you.
Welcome back to the ReMA 2025 live stage. I'm Wyatt Pontius. I'm the founder and CEO of ReMatter. We are a scrap software company and the official innovation partner of ReMA.
Joining Wyatt today, I'm Kent. I lead our revenue team. So everyone go-to-market facing for ReMatter. Definitely excited to be the official innovation partner of ReMA this year and proud sponsors of the show. It's been a great show so far and excited to share a little bit more about the innovation lens that we take as ReMatter and some of our focus from a software perspective. Wanted to start, Wyatt, prompting you with a little bit of a question around how we're thinking about focusing on innovation as a software player and balancing, pressing the boundaries of what we can do with also the many needs that, software companies and us included from an ERP perspective seek to solve today.
Yeah, I think ultimately, especially in the scrap space, making sure that you nail the fundamentals is key before, you can really get too crazy and do anything on top of that. Obviously, AI is a huge buzzword that we're all talking about a lot, hearing a lot about, and ultimately, a lot of it's glitz and glam, chatbots on top of ChatGPT. And so the thing we're really focused on is making sure we nail those core workflows with things like purchasing, inventory, et cetera. And then we're being thoughtful about how we introduce technologies like AI on top of that to really add value to the day-to-day workflows rather than just jamming it in for the sake of jamming it in, like throwing a spoiler on a Honda Civic where the engine doesn't run. And so for us, some of the things that we've really been focused on here are the things that are at the heart of every successful scrap operation, like the scale. Making sure that we're able to provide great customer service, get people on and off the yard quickly, make sure that we're protecting our margins, and then sprinkling tools like AI in to be able to help us do a better job, incrementally squeeze out a few more percentage points of margin, provide that much better customer service, and ultimately help grow the business and grow our profits.
I'm obviously biased, but I love the strategy. Would love to talk a little bit about the fundamentals and maybe to start there, of course, we can get into AI and some of the things that are pushing the boundaries of what's possible today. But in terms of thinking about the foundation, what are some of the things that we as a company are really focused on to take steps forward and allow recyclers to do new things or really run their core business effectively?
Yeah, ultimately, it's our responsibility as a software company to just sort of shut up and listen to the people that are doing the actual work on the yard day in and day out and taking cues from them as to what we should be focusing on. For all the time that we've been in the industry, we've really just been sponges trying to soak up all the information that we can from folks that have been in the industry for, in some cases, decades, multi-generation family-owned businesses. And time again, the things that we hear are, we need to make sure that the system's easy to use, simple interface, change management's going to be doable. A lot of people have been snake bitten by, jumping at something glitzy. They got sold something. It turned out to not actually be what they thought it was. It was something of a lemon. And so we've really gone back to the basics, making sure that we're nailing things like the scale ticketing workflow, like the inventory, like the reporting, making sure folks can really get access to the information that they need to have access to in a way that's accurate and in a way that's formatted the way that they want to see it for their particular business. It's really easy, I think, to fall into the trap of thinking, they're all scrap metal recyclers, they're all doing the same thing, when in reality we know, hundreds of facilities that we work with, no two are the same. So for us, really making sure we're dedicating a lot of our brain power, a lot of our bandwidth, capital, all of the above, toward making sure that those core experiences are the best that they can possibly be, the class leaders in the industry, and then also utilizing the unique skill sets that we have to bring tools like AI, machine learning, et cetera, to really add on to and augment those workflows rather than trying to replace them. and really putting the tools in the hands of the folks that are on the yard doing these things every single day in a way that makes sense and is intuitive to them.
That makes a ton of sense. I see you've got our purchases module pulled up here. I'll tee you up to maybe do a quick run through. Obviously can't go into a ton of detail, but a quick run through of some of what we've been focused on here and how it works.
Yeah, for sure. Would love to. As we all know, like the scale is the heart of any scrap operation, and making sure that we're getting peddlers, our commercial accounts, our dealers, industrial accounts, everyone on and off the scale quickly and accurately is a top priority. We've taken painstaking detail to sort of every aspect of this to make sure that we can do this quickly and effectively and make sure that we're really providing the best experience to the customers. In that vein, I can basically go through and run a ticket in a matter of seconds. So coming in, adding the different commodities that I'm using, obviously integrating in at the scale, integrating in with our price lists, quickly identifying who we're buying from, making sure we're paying them out in the time frame that makes sense and that we've agreed to, and then getting them in. So, I'm able to basically run through an entire scale tick in a matter of 15, 20 seconds, really push those peddlers through, and those yards that, are doing 3, 4, 5, or even 600 peddler tickets a day, every single second counts. And so we've sat, for weeks behind scale operators, really just understanding the nuance of every single aspect of what they're doing, cutting out milliseconds, seconds from those workflows, and really making it so that this is a clear class-leading product in the space for what really matters.
I love it. And getting to spend all day with customers and talking to them about what matters and the importance of customer service, I see this every day, that it really is a game of seconds. And when you're processing, to your point, upwards of 50, 100, in some cases 200 tickets a day, or you're thinking about all the things that you could be doing with the time that you're trying to spend, running your business, having these time savings back while also having a system that's so powerful and can manage all the different material flows that you've got becomes pretty paramount. I guess shifting gears now and thinking about AI and some of the other things that we're thinking about as a company that are more cutting edge, how do you think about the role that might play? You mentioned the importance of bridging AI with the use cases that are really important for recycling today versus just generic chat tooling and things that might just be noise. How do you think about that, and could you show us maybe something that's a little bit of art of the possible that we're thinking about?
Yeah, for sure. So there's a couple different categories where we're really thinking about AI applications in scrap software. One of those is with respect to computer vision. So basically using camera feeds, pictures that we're capturing from IP cameras at the scale to verify that our scale operators are actually accurately grading material. Whether that's because good help is hard to find, training people up to identify tens or hundreds of different grades is not so easy, or in some cases, unfortunately, obviously fraud prevention as well. We've built leading class AI models into the scale ticketing software so that we can really understand what the accuracy that our scale ticket operator is working with. One of the things that is also super important for any software is the ability to actually get data and get insights out of the system. And so with that, obviously one of the things that people love to see is data visualization. It's one thing to be able to get a giant spreadsheet of numbers out of the system, and it's another thing to be able to actually make sense of what's going on there. It doesn't take a computer programmer to necessarily do that in the way that you would have expected maybe even 5 years ago. So one of the cool things that we've built within ReMatter is completely customizable dashboards where every single individual user within the yard can have their own lens and their own view of what's really important to them to make the best decisions and make the most in the yard. On top of that, obviously leveraging AI to help make it really easy. So rather than having to go in and write some SQL code or some Python to build a new visualization, we can simply pop over into our ReMatter Intelligent Reporting Assistant, say, show me a bar chart of my purchase volume by facility, send this off, let the AI think about it, ruminate for a minute on what it is that we're asking, search through all the various database tables that we have, and voila, we now have a chart within a matter of seconds that we can ask for in plain English and get those real insights that we want out of the business. Continue to take it a step further. With time on the x-axis, show me a stacked bar chart of purchases by facility over time, because this snapshot, might not necessarily be the end all be all of what it is we're looking for. And, we're able to basically populate these charts over time, stacked by facility, add those into our dashboard, and really build these different lenses and views on, like, if I'm our director of non-ferrous, what really matters to me? If I'm our general manager at our Texas yard, what really matters to me? Get those personalized insights that are going to allow us all to come together and run the business at a level that really wouldn't be possible without these data and insights.
That's awesome. It seems like, one of the things that AI and some of these newer technologies are really allowing us to do and recyclers to do is get access to the information that they need much more quickly and more readily, and also get access to information that maybe wouldn't have been possible to get, even 6 or 12 months ago. As we think about the value that these kinds of things can have on recyclers, on our customers and prospects in this space, how do you think about, ultimately what we're trying to solve for with the new products we're launching, and what we as a company, kind of why we exist to serve these needs, what we can ultimately do to help our recyclers be more effective and productive?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. AI or not, the insights that you can get from the system are only as good as the data that's in the system, and that's only as good as the inputs of what's going in. And so for us, when we got into the industry, 7 years ago, we essentially looked around and asked ourselves, like, why isn't there a single tool out there that captures all of the workflows across transportation, across buying, across export, across brokerage? And even 7 years on, there isn't still a singular tool that really captures all of those workflows in one place. And so, you could have the greatest AI in the world, and ultimately, if half of your business is running on an Excel spreadsheet that the AI doesn't have access to, it's, really not that helpful. And so as we think about how our product strategy, between nailing the foundation and nailing innovation sort of comes together, we're really focused on, like, what are the aspects of the business that we haven't yet covered in our platform. So one of the things that we've launched here at the show this year, export and bookings management, something that, a lot of folks obviously are selling container loads overseas. A lot of folks are doing that with DSLR cameras and SD cards and Excel spreadsheets. How do we bring that into the platform? For recyclers that are, doing their own physical processing, but also doing brokerage on the side, how do we make sure that all those loads, the margin information, all of that is captured back into the platform, so that really anyone in the business within the realm of what they're permissioned to and need to see has complete information that they need across the entire business, across all the yards if they own multiple facilities, all in one platform, can visualize that data, can get the insights that they need. And this isn't a business where people are making 80, 90% margins. Every penny counts, every dollar per ton counts. And so if there's a way for us to leverage these insights from different parts of the platform to squeeze an extra penny or two out, that's the difference between sending people empty-handed at the end of the year or giving them a great Christmas bonus. And we really want to make sure that folks are doing right by their employees, growing their business, being good stewards of multi-generational family businesses. It is truly, exceptional and special that there are as many family businesses as there are, and generational businesses as there are in this space. And if we can play a part in turning a third generation business into a fourth and fifth and sixth generation business and continuing that level of success, that's something that I can feel really, really good about at the end of the day.
Yeah, I love it. I think what's so unique, to hit on the family piece here and bring it close to it, I think this is such a relationship-centric industry, and that's not going away. There's so much in-person value. Obviously, business getting done with trades and stuff will always be happening at some level in person. The material flows will always be very tangible. And I think what AI and some of the things that we've been able to accomplish are doing is really democratizing access to the information that people need to make decisions quickly and run the business. And I anticipate what we'll see is that they'll be able to spend less time going through and doing things that today might take a full day to run research once a week, and be able to spend more time thinking about the application of that information in their businesses in a human context to really help propel things forward, whether that's speeding the processing times, thinking about how they optimize the way that they work or the decisions they make around trades and deals and pricing, and how all these things fit together. So I think very exciting times. And with that, unless there's anything you want to add, definitely appreciate the opportunity to get a little bit of an insight into this. And I'm excited about where we go from here.
Yeah, it's really special just getting to see the development of ReMA, of people in the industry, and we all love to work hard, play hard in the scrap industry. One of the stories that's always stuck with me is we had a customer that emailed us maybe 6 months after we had started the business and told us that he was able to take his wife on vacation for the first time in like 20 years because for once he was able to have the confidence that he needed to actually run the yard from the ReMatter operator mobile app while he was on a beach somewhere. And to your point, whether it's taking research that used to take a week and compressing that down into a day, which allows us to have more time for revenue generating activities, or whether it allows us to have more time to spend with our families and doing the things that make being human worthwhile. Those are really the stories that stick with me. And at the end of the day, the things that make me most excited about continuing to push the boundaries of what's possible and delivering value to everyone from mom and pop family businesses all the way up to huge multinational recyclers. Everybody deserves to have access to cutting edge technology that can help their business grow, and hopefully we can make their lives a little bit easier in doing that.
I love it. I love it. All right.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank you all for joining.